The Civil War comes to Fort Hartsuff, southeast of Burwell on Saturday. Joining us for more, including more on free fishing and park entry day on Saturday, is Michaela Clemens, the Park Superintendent at Fort Hartsuff. Michaela, why does Fort Hartsuff stand out as a big key place to host this Civil War event on Saturday?
The Civil War cast a really long shadow on American history, but Fort Hartsuff was built just about 10 years after the end of the war, which means that a lot of the officers that were stationed here were veterans of the Civil War. There are a lot of civilians that actually helped to build the fort who were also veterans of the Civil War. And the fort was named after Major General George Hartsuff, who was really a Civil War hero. There's a lot of good storytelling to be had here.
For all the history buffs and their families, what are the different activities that are planned Saturday for this Civil War event coming to Fort Hartsuff?
There's no big battles. We want to manage some of that expectations. Really, a lot more displays and demonstrations. Visitors can really explore things like uniforms and weapons and flags. The highlight of the day will certainly be the cannons, which are Civil War replicas. And those are scheduled to go off at 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and then we'll have a night shoot at 9:30, which is always really fun for visitors.
In addition to the Civil War events on Saturday at Fort Hartsuff, what will we find in the historical buildings, also the gift shop, maybe for a souvenir?
The historical buildings are staged for that 1870s era. There's 9 original buildings and several more reconstructions, so it really is just an opportunity to time travel when you're here. The gift shop is set up like an old trade store, so there's going to be fun souvenirs, stickers, magnets, and T-shirts, which are really good sellers for us. But I think most visitors really enjoy the old-fashioned candy, and some of that is actually period correct, so like rock candy, which they would have had in the fort era.
And will there be any food available on Saturday?
There is. So we've got a food truck coming out. It's Grills Gone Wild. They do burgers and awesome brisket sandwiches. They're going to be here from 10 to 4, which means you can come see the cannons shoot off and have some lunch and really enjoy the day.
Talking right now with Park Superintendent Michaela Clemens and learning more about the Civil War activities that are planned for Saturday at Fort Hartsuff, just to the southeast of Burwell. Michaela, Saturday also free fishing and park entry day. What can someone count on finding at the Nebraska State Parks?
Saturday is just a great opportunity to get out and explore the parks if you don't already have a vehicle park entry permit, or if you want to try your hand at fishing and don't already have the fishing permit. In our region, I expect there's going to be a lot of people who go up to Calamus State Rec area and do some boating and fishing for the day, and then come down to the fort to see the cannons go off or explore some of the Civil War event.
And Michaela, is there still a cost for admission to see the Civil War activities at Fort Hartsuff?
There is. So the free park entry applies just to the vehicle permit. There is admission to the historical buildings, which are going to be open 10 to 4:30. And our admission is $5 for anybody 13 and up, $1 for kiddos between 3 and 12, and we don't charge for anybody 2 and under.
May is Nebraska Bird Month. Michaela, what kind of fun does Fort Hartsuff have planned to celebrate?
So Fort Hartsuff is doing a scavenger hunt activity called Birding in the Buildings, and that's for anybody who shows up and pays admission, wants to go through the buildings. You can explore the buildings and look for bird mounts that are throughout all the various buildings. And you can learn about that Victorian era fascination with birds and feathers, all these ladies that had the feathers on their hats. That really led to some of the first conservation laws that we have in the U.S. to protect birds.
And Michaela, what is the best location to start finding some directions, also some signs that lead to Fort Hartsuff on Saturday for the Civil War events?
Sure. Fort Hartsuff is up in north central Nebraska, off Highway 11, just 3 miles from the town of Elyria. And that's north of Ord and south of Burwell. There's a great big road sign right on Elyria just to point you in the direction of the fort.
Michaela, anything else you'd like to add about the Civil War events on Saturday at Fort Hartsuff?
Just to come out and explore and have fun, and to encourage people, if they are not able to come Saturday, to still find us, because I think you would really find this site really exciting.
Thank you for joining us, Michaela. That's Park Superintendent Michaela Clemens talking about the Civil War coming to Fort Hartsuff, southeast of Burwell on Saturday. Those events Saturday morning starting at 10 o'clock. For more on Facebook, you can search for Civil War at Fort Hartsuff. Again, on Facebook, that's Civil War at Fort Hartsuff. I'm Paul Perkins on the Rural Radio Network.